After we lost the first game, I tried to reset my mentality completely.
I wasn't too affected by it because I believe our team can bounce back.
Again, they're going to look to try and make the play. Becky straight to the backline, in onto the carry. Wants to try and take him down. He fights all the way around and goes on a rampage to get 2. That's 3. Maybe going to make it another one here. Is Carosi going to get picked up? I can see it. I can smell the penta. Becky keeps chasing. He wants the joy. He wants the quadra. He's going to get it. Where's Wok Wok?
It should be a penta if Camille is there. He would die if he wasn't still pushing.
That will be our first Hyperplay Grand Finalists. Flash taunt, finds one, there's the knockout. Eternal looking for it, first blood on the table. Puppy K running away, but it's not enough. It's massive, they take down high 3. Ivan still cutting out of the way with the last breath. The last breath, sorry, maybe gonna keep him alive. They need to kill him, they need to get him. They've got to do it! Singapore, I think they've done it, that's the 8!
Trong giải đấu lần này thì ván đầu cuối cùng đó là ván đấu rất là căng thẳng và ván đấu đó là khó khăn nhất trong cái giải đấu lần này.
Khi mà chúng tôi bị dẫn trước thì chúng tôi rất là bình tĩnh và chờ đối phương mắc sai lầm. Chúng tôi sẽ nắm lấy cơ hội đó và giành chiến thắng. Thật ra mọi người nhìn khó vậy thôi chứ mình cảm thấy rất là dễ.
Kelly could be dead. One crit takes him down. Eternal tries to go back in again. You needs to be the hero, but it's not going to be enough. That's actually an ace in the base. Vietnam hold on to the game. The next is first Vietnam. Oh my God! They somehow come back from the brink of death and take the series.
I'm very confident to fight against their jungle because I know how their playstyle work and I'm gonna use that against them.
Em cảm thấy không có gì phải lo lắng tại vì em giỏi hơn cậu ấy.
Đó là dự định của chúng tôi trước khi tham gia giải đấu lần này và chúng tôi sẽ không để thua bất kỳ trận nào vào trận đấu ngày mai.
I really look up to their coach Optimus, so if I were to win against that team, awesome.
Em cảm thấy hồi hộp nhưng mà không có gì phải đáng sợ hết vì em đã được đối thủ 2 lần.
In the group stage, we lost 0-2 to Vietnam, so meeting them in the finals again is like a second shot at redemption.
This is going to fuel our motivation to win them on a big stage.
I hope we can get our revenge against them.
We'll try harder and then we'll play better and then hopefully this time around it's a 2-0 for Malaysia.
For the finals, I'm just looking forward to winning the whole tournament as a team.
Điều mà em muốn kỳ vọng ở trong trận chung kết đó là chiến thắng và chiếc vô địch.
May the best team win.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Singapore Indoor Stadium, home of the Hyperplay League of Legends Grand Finals. I'm Matthew Fish-Stewart here covering today's games with the help of Clement Chu as well as Mark Flavors-Lee, and it's going to be an exciting grand final of Hyperplay. These two teams, they're out for that 2-0. We heard it just from that video right there.
Yeah, that was such a hype video, man. You could tell them saying, oh, why don't we 2-0 them in the finals, coming from Malaysia. Man, these guys have got their work cut out for them.
I just love the contrast in the different styles between the teams, because Malaysia is like very boisterous. Even though we went down 0-2, we're still going to finish this 2-0. While Vietnam, they're kind of shy, they're composed. We're just better than them.
Pretty much a little bit of BM coming off the back half of that. But while we were only here at the Singapore Indoor Stadium for one more evening, the Hyperplay tournament has been going on for over 2 months. It's been a long tournament, and it all started with open qualifiers in 10 countries here in Southeast Asia, with over 700 teams participating. From there, the top teams from each nation were split up into 2 groups based on regional strength and played a best-of-1 double round robin. The winning team in each group, which were the Philippines and Vietnam, advanced to yesterday's semi-final. To fill the other 2 semi-final spots, the remaining 8 teams entered a King of the Hill style gauntlet, where we saw Singapore and Malaysia advancing. Both of these teams were the 2nd seed from their group. And yesterday, the squads from both Malaysia and Vietnam won in their best-of-3 series, which brings us to today's grand finals.
And we've seen throughout the tournament that the games have been going progressively slower. The meta has slowed down. Yesterday, both semifinals were closed out by those hyper carries. I think it is the competition getting better, getting hotter. The games are going to drag a little bit more than we saw in the group stages.
Yeah, and you heard from those hyper carries themselves. You know, Ozorveki being as boisterous and as full of life as he can be, saying, you know, yeah, we just want to get our redemption. We wanted 2-0 the tournament favorites, who, yeah, you know, by the way, casually mentioned that they beat us 0-2. You gotta love that attitude.
And I have to say, I think for Malaysia, this is a bit more important game because they're sending out the best team in their country by far.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
for Vietnam, they're sending probably their 9th to 10th best squad over
Crazy,
here.
crazy.
So if Malaysia don't win, then that's just such a massive stadium for the rising powerhouse of Vietnam.
But still, it's Vietnam that are coming into the tournament and the grand finals as favorites in this matchup. On top of that, they've been doing it through a ton of fighting. We don't see as much macro play as we'd expect in a League of Legends tournament, but we see lots of flight. It's the bloodiest game I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think one thing that's surprising is how Vietnam have really been pressuring their opponents and then other teams just not capitalizing on that. I mean, we talk about how aggressive it is. Oh, they never back. And that's like, we talk about how scary that is, but at the same time, it's super risky. You know, we have Vietnamese players fighting with 25, 30% HP, and teams are just like surprised. So I hope that Malaysia's done their homework, watched the Singapore series and realized these guys could just be in brush with 30% HP. Let's just go at them. Come on, guys. It's the grand finals. Go get that win.
We talk about the Fnatic death brush. For Vietnam, every single brush is the Fnatic death brush. They're all hiding
Every
in. They're
brush is
all
scary.
waiting to finish off the team. They keep the action going all the time. So if teams want to catch them out, they do need to be very prepared at the possible angles and how long the fights can actually go when they're facing up against this team.
We'll have to see if they do just that. But while our grand finals are just moments away, we have a full evening in store here at Hyperplay. In addition to the best of 3 series on Summoner's Rift, there's more MTV Spotlight later on, featuring Alicia Cara, as well as Grammy award-winning artist Nick Jonas. Today's gameplay is made possible by Singtel. Level up your gaming experience with Singtel, the official telecom and broadband provider of Hyperplay. Also brought to you guys by Clearman. Clearman helps you get your head in the game. I mean, these teams, they're about to get on the stage later on. I mean, it's going to be an exciting clash between them. And again, KLH from Malaysia trying to cause that upset against Vietnam, who are favorites, and we have to touch on it again. Undefeated so far.
That's
8-0 in group stage, didn't drop a single game to Singapore yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, you look at these teams and the players on your screen now, the Vietnamese squad, just so strong in their mechanical rights, the individual players, that I think it's really on, the onus is really on Malaysia to play as a team. I think by far they've had a lot more professional experience than other squads in this tournament, and this is the game, if any, to show what it looks like to play League of Legends as a top-tier team.
And we really see Vietnam playing in more of a like a 3-2 type of style. Their jungler Vormund is always hanging around the top side, ready to dive for Darius in the top lane, who's stepping in for Mature today, while their bot lane is also very good on the 2v2 kills. So it's threats across the board.
Yeah, so they're also going up against Malaysia. They're going to try and take down Vietnam in this grand final. They are not going to be the favorites. Vietnam are the favorites. Malaysia have to cause some kind of an upset to try and take this one down, but they're confident going into this match, and we'll dial in on the matchup a little bit more later on. But for now, it's time to head to the stage and meet the contenders for today's grand finals.
All right, Hyperplay, how are we feeling in here? All right, hello, Hyperplay. Are you ready for tonight's League of Legends Grand Finals? Well, in that case, please help me put our hands together as we welcome our semi-finalists. Starting on the blue side of the Summoner's Rift, it's the undefeated representatives from Vietnam.
And their opponents looking to break the winning streak tonight, it's Malaysia! For Vietnam, in the top lane, it's Darius. His opponent from Singapore, Shiro. Roaming the jungle, it's Vormund. And for Malaysia, Caspiel. In the mid lane, Puppy K. He'll be up against RH. In the bot lane, Artemis versus Ozora Vecchi. In support, High 3. And his opponent, Superior. Ready to sub in, it's Mature. And Panda. And finally, their coaches, Optimus and Neon. Let's hear it one more time for our Hyperplay Grand Finalists.
Now, game one is just moments away, and as the teams are ready up, we're gonna go check back in with Fish up at the Hyperplay Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Hanli and Patient Time. Now that we've seen these players who are standing out to you guys, who are standing out to you guys going into this Grand Finals match, because we saw the likes of Ozora Vecchi carry in yesterday's game. We saw what Artemis could do for Vietnam as well. What do you think?
It has to go for Artemis for me. He's probably the best damage dealer we have in the tournament so far. 41% of his team's damage in yesterday's semifinals and 78% kill participation. He's great in the lane. He can 1v9 late game. He's the biggest pillar that the Vietnam's team is standing upon.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I went to sleep and there was just numbers flowing through my mind, and it was Artemis with 70,000 damage, and on the other side, 2 players of 35,000. So again, this guy is just pulling out insane numbers, but you have to give it to the rest of the team, right? They are really propping him up, making sure that he can play very aggressively. And as we heard from Scar yesterday, who really helped us identify the way they play, so aggressive and so frontline as an AD carry, but he's got absolutely the mechanical skill to do it, and the rest of the team backing him up. It's going to look good from these guys.
Certainly is. I want to look towards their coaches as well, especially towards Vietnam's side of Optimus, because he founded the 2 teams, that Sky Gaming as well as their sister team, which is Vietnam Superstar Destroyers. But he also played in Sky Gaming. He played during the qualifiers. He's a well-known player from Vietnam, and he's been lending a helping hand to the team, making sure that their strategy is sound going into Hyperplay.
Yeah, you have to remember that this is the guy that was on the international stage representing Vietnam at Riot events, at Worlds as well. Gigabyte Marines having a great showing over there, known for his strong individual play in lane, and even taking it to Faker at times. So this is a big brand name coming up for Vietnam, and I love that he's passing along his experience and his skills.
Yeah, and what do you expect from a guy who takes on Faker? Is he ever going to tell a team to back, right? There's like a running joke going on now. Optimus has gone to every one of his team members' keyboards and just chipped away at that B key, you know, nobody backs.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go back to base. You have to stay in lane, keep farming, keep killing everyone you can, but they have to try and look towards the bottom lane, because we talked about Artemis earlier. We have to see if KLH are going to attack that bottom side of the map. Caspiel historically has played towards the bottom side of Summoner's Rift, potentially lend a helping hand to Ozora Vecchi. These 2 players were the players that carried matches to get Malaysia into the finals.
Yeah, this is a really tough one actually for Malaysia. They're in a bit of a tough bind because the one champion which Caspiel was able to super hard carry on was that Kindred. But as we heard in the interview, Warman loves that champion for himself. So it's going to be interesting which side gets, you know, which team gets which side first, because I don't think Vietnam will ever ban away Kindred. But then if they choose to give that to Caspiel, it kind of throws the series into all kinds of goodness for Malaysia, I would say.
The drafting is just definitely super important here, because we've seen Vietnam on blue side. They prefer that side. They always pick up the strong jungler left from the bans right there. And Kindred has definitely been their go-to.
It certainly has. There's a few other champions you have to look out for. Ozora Vecchi had a great performance on Kai'Sa in the bottom lane. Artemis, when he got his late game scaling AD carry, the likes of Zaya, he was able to pull out a comeback performance for Vietnam and actually take them to the finals instead of going to Game 3 against Singapore.
Yeah, I want to take a look at some of the damage numbers since we talk a lot about Artemis, but another player that actually had really good performances on a champion that we didn't see much this entire tournament was RH on Zoe. Very interestingly enough, it was the match that they lost against Philippines as well, so even in a losing game, he busted out 36% of his team's damage. And that could be very interesting, because as we talked about, in the contrasting style to Puppy K, who doesn't actually play a lot of those, you know, pick champions or carry roles in that mid lane, this could be another strong point for Malaysia that might surprise Vietnam.
I don't think you have to worry about that for Vietnam because they just simply ban out the Zoe when they're facing Malaysia. They don't want that extra roaming potential from the duo of RH and Caspiel to really come out onto the map. 30% difference kill participation in the mid lane.
Yeah, especially because RH, when he was playing on the Zoe, he had to try and make those hero plays, and we said that is actually going to be a critical strength for Malaysia when they're playing against the Philippines. Fortunately, he didn't get his chance to play Zoe again, but we saw him play supports. But okay, he's stepping back. That's one of the players we actually need to step up, but show that using these support champions can help out people like Caspiel in the jungle, as well as Azoroveki in the bottom lane, and trying to use these pillars of strength to carry them over the line in this tournament.
That's right. Azoroveki will absolutely need that support because he is going up against Artemis, who we've hyped up enough. But another thing about Veki that might be interesting, again, it's a short series, so they don't really have that many games to flex or experiment, but he's also busted out a couple of champions that are, you know, not too meta or not too commonly seen in bottom lane. We can think of as Ziggs or Rihanna. Well, that might throw a wrench in the works for Vietnam's game plan.
Yeah, it's important to remember as well that Vietnam was able to beat Malaysia twice in the group stage. Both of these teams have said that, you know what, this is going to be a 2-0 to them as well. Malaysia's confident, Vietnam is confident, and here were some of those big plays that we saw against the Philippines, where Malaysia were able to come back in that best-of-3 series, because Philippines took game 1 and it was one-sided. Remember, Philippines were the team that advanced directly out of the qualifiers. Malaysia had to play through the King of the Hill, and then they came back and took down the Philippines in that semi-final match.
If you look in those team fights, all the big plays center around the bot lane support of the Tahm Kench. We've seen Shiro on Kennen, and they just swallow the Kennen up, spin him back out again, keep those carries alive, and use that AoE while he's still in someone else's stomach. And it's the same thing for Azoroveki as well. That fight in the Dragon Pit where he was able to extend his own life, really switch things to the Malaysian side.
All right, Mark, I've heard the players that you want to look out for, but how do they use these players to actually win this match?
It's got to be Caspiel as the jungler dictating the early pace of the game. He's got two very important tasks set up for him. Number one, he's got to keep eyes on Vorman, make sure that he's contained. And then number two, he's got to call out who's going to be able to support the bottom side. So if he needs to free up Arch in the mid lane, then do that, because bottom lane is going to need help to take down that bottom side of Artemis.
What about you, Clement? Who are you looking towards from both Vietnam as well as Malaysia? Because we highlighted the plays we know they can carry, but we're not quite sure how they're going to do it because they've been swapping up strategy here and there. Vietnam's been the most consistent team. KLH's been experimenting here and there throughout the tournament.
For Vietnam, I have to look at Darius. When Malaysia played them, they triple banned him and he still had a monster game. He's stepping up on stage over mature here for a reason. They already have experience on their side. They know that this works. So the 2v2 is going to really bring it home for Vietnam in my view.
So it's potentially the upset that KLH are going to try and throw out here. Vietnam favorites, undefeated so far. How? How are we going to see this upset from Malaysia? Because I know that they've played before, and I know that it was 2-0 going towards Vietnam, but those were very close games.
For me, it's about punishing mistakes. The only weakness that I see from Vietnam is that they're not the cleanest team to play ever. They do straggle around, and Malaysia is very good at picking up isolation kills. That's how they push Vietnam to the brink in the group stages.
Yeah, it has to be the same for me. I mean, we see teams being really scared of Vietnam, and it is an understandable mental block. Again, when you go into a team that has just had a clean group stage, or at least, you know, a clean record for a group stage, and then you see a team that goes up against Singapore, who has a strong team themselves, almost take it to game 3, but then close that out as well. Yeah. I really hope that the Malaysian teams, you know, the players themselves, draw on their veteran experience, draw on the composure that they can bring to big stages, and just say, it doesn't matter. We're still confident we can bust that into 2-0, because that mental game is so strong.
Seems like it's the veterans against the raw skill at the moment. These players are ready for pick and ban. Ooh. So we're going to let's meet our casters for game 1.
Hello again, pastry time here alongside Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and we're just moments away from picks and bans in Game 1 of the Hyperplay Grand Finals.
Yeah, such a big stage here for these guys. They've been working for so long to get to this point, and finally, we can get into Champion Select here and get started.
And this should be a banger, Kobe, as far as series go. It's been exciting games just in the top 4 of this tournament, let alone the 2 months that we unfortunately didn't get to see as much of.
Yeah, Vietnam have still yet to drop a game here for the entire tournament. Malaysia definitely have their hands full with this big matchup, but they are up to the task, and as you've seen in the videos, looking forward to this with everything they have.
I just love that I think every team in top 4 said we're going to win and we will 2-0. So only one team for that can be true for in this Grand Finals. Kobe, remember, is a best of 3, so you have a chance, but not many. We'll see how the teams navigate this first draft here. Swain going to be banned away there from Vietnam, away from Malaysia, and particularly away from Becky.
And even though Vietnam have been so strong in this tournament, they have developed some trends that you can track and try and attack from the opponent's point of view here. Puppy K has played a ton of Anivia. Seems like he'll, pick this champion regardless of matchup when it is up. As well, Darius in the top lane, huge Rise player. So a lot of AP threats for their solo laners, and you can try and take that into account here with your ban phase, maybe take away some of the AD threats. So they have to diversify a little bit. There are a couple other options. There's also had a very good Camille game, carrying super hard for Vietnam as well. And that is going to be a point of contention. Now it is banned off, so no more option for that one.
Yep, Alistar, the other ban. High3 put in work on the champion in their games yesterday. And there's Rakan also banned away. Generally strong support.
Definitely true. Works really well as well with the Xayah that we saw Artemis absolutely hard carry Vietnam with yesterday. 41% of the team's overall damage. And that wasn't with a funnel, that was with just good old standard
Xayah.
80 carry marksman play.
All right, well, there is Anivia banned away as the last one off of Puppy K. So actually the Kindred going to be taken away here by Volman. Said it was his favorite champion.
And I do like the target bans here from Malaysia. Like we said, there are some trends that emerge from Vietnam. They're trying to push them off of some of the comfort champions. In order to do that, though, when you sacrifice some of these standard bans in Kindred, just overall powerful champions at the moment, that's what you're going to have to give up when you do go for the more targeted ones. Here we go, though. Caspio might again try his hand at the Taliyah jungle. However, it could still be flexed to another lane here for them. It has been very successful in the bottom lane as well as mid lane.
Yep, I think Veki is certainly the player to keep an eye on. Had a good Kai'Sa game to finish out their series versus the Philippines, but is known for a lot of those mages in the bot lane because, of course, he has role swapped a few times in competitive.
Exactly. Played both mid lane and support. He played with Hong Kong Attitude last year and has returned to Malaysia to play for his hometown. Looks like he is going to be another option here with the Jace picked up. Could be RH, could be Shiro in the top lane. RH has been more of a supportive mid laner though, and I really liked him on his Lulu and Galio play, roaming around trying to cover for his jungle. So I kind of expect it to be a top lane Jace.
Yeah, might be happening again though, because Xayah is the pick. Artemis more than happy to pilot that one back into this game. Had a cracker of a game in the one they finished their series off yesterday, barely squeaking out of plus 50-minute win.
Yeah, definitely a firecracker of a game. That was an explosive one. Vietnam defending over and over inside their own base. And the Xayah, he did go lethal tempo, try and get the feathers out that much quicker, get more damage with the blade collar to call more of them back. And this could be paired with a support Shen, as we've seen it very effective from the bottom lane, creating a lot of plays with the taunt flashes, as well as then being able to lend a hand as you get further into game. With Vietnam's style of splitting up on the map, constant pressure, Stand United is an extremely useful tool to turn a lot of those fights if they do go back to the split push.
Well, they've drafted two pretty strong damage deals as their first two picks, so perhaps something a bit more supportive here. I think RH, we've already seen him play Lulu in the mid lane if they do lock this in, but of course Superior can play it as well. Plenty flexible.
That's right. It is looking like we have top lane Jace, jungle Taliyah, and mid lane Lulu on our hands. Now we're going to have to focus here on the top lane bans. Yasuo taken out here from Darius, and we'll see if they continue with a little bit more focus on him.
Yeah, I see a Varus ban as well though, so Taliyah of course has some of that flexibility into the bot side, but I think Veki looked best in the 3 games we saw yesterday on Marksman, and it has been kind of trending back towards that here. Remember, we are on 8-14, so certainly seen a resurgence of those class of champions in that role.
And already it is going to be a lot about the momentum early on in this game. If Taliyah jungle can have a good start, you can have a huge advantage over the Kindred in the early game. The burst damage is tremendous, and it's up to the Kindred to try and dodge the seismic shove and get away from those combinations. In order to do that, you're going to need to have some vision to work with so you don't go walking into anything. In the early game as well, we'll see if we can get some of those marks on the Scuttle Crab stacked up. Currently, though, second ban at the top side, that was the Kennen. Shiro, Kennen and Vladimir, to me, were his best 2 champions from the top side. Big AoE AP threats that Malaysia was able to use to get an advantage in team fights. So
he's going to run it back.
Interesting ban.
Veki locks in the Ziggs. This is the pick that kind of got them to where they are now. To qualify them for this part of the tournament.
It's how they recovered earlier in the group stages after losing some games. Veki here on these Ziggs got so fed that he could two-shot the enemy AD carry. Gonna look to be that big AP threat from the bottom side. You can try and knock over the tower very quickly as well. Use a satchel charge to start getting some of the early turret money.
Feels like Champion kind of fits the player as well. Veki's been very kind of bubbly and very energetic and very outgoing. I think, you know, some of that mania that Ziggs has may be reflected not only in his play but in his personality as well. And of course, he's had some great performances on it, don't forget. Rounding out pretty standard here for Vietnam though, Puppet K back on Malzahar duty, and Dr. Mundo will make a return to the top lane.
All right, Vietnam gonna run a tank here in the top side, and we'll see if Mundo becomes a big problem for them. Jace early on is gonna try and get the push, and a little bit of a lane advantage there. Oh, it's gonna be a switch up, and they are gonna lock in a Kled here as well for Malaysia, so a bit of a trick as the Lulu will be rotated down to the bottom side for a support. With the Ziggs, and they are going to have some kill pressure onto Mundo. Kled into Mundo is one of the best matchups to try and kill this Mundo early on, especially if the Kled can take Ignite. Even without Ignite, though, does have an option of going for those early kills. Oh, another swap here.
Yeah.
Might just go for mid lane. Keep you guessing.
Just having some fun. I mean, yeah, both these champions have seen play in mid and top in the past, but more recently, I suppose. But looks like Shiro will be revisiting this champion, I believe.
Yeah, big thing here about Kled, always threatening with the bear trap on a rope. As soon as he's able to land that, you can just go for the all-in. If your W is up, the vicious strikes. There's no option for trading back for Mundo, and especially before level 6. Definitely possible to get solo kills.
Yep, makes sense as well with some of these Bruiser-style champions to get an early executions calling, which is essential if you're ever trying to slay the Mundo at any reasonable point in the game that's not very early on. So kind of an interesting draft here between these two teams. Seen a lot of red side being chosen in general for the picks and bans here so far in the top 4 of this tournament. So kind of using their counter picks and their flex picks pretty wisely here from Malaysia. But I think Vietnam have assembled a pretty fearsome but pretty standard team composition. I think certainly the power is in the right places for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that there were pretty good bans, especially taking away the Anivia from Puppy K. We saw yesterday when he was on the Malzahar, did not have a very big impact on the game, even when he got to upgrading his Predator boots and trying to roam around with the ultimate. So maybe Malaysia here setting themselves up for success. They know that there's a huge task ahead of them, but heading under the rift, set up in a good position for themselves.
Well, we'll have to see exactly what choices these players have made, but we're going to kick off the Hyperplay Grand Finals in just a moment. Vietnam versus Malaysia.
All right, I would expect Talia to want to try and play around the top side of the map here. This Kled into Mundo matchup should have the Kled super early favored, and that would allow you to try and control at least the top mark here from Kindred. Right now, though, everybody standard outings as they're just going to have defensive opening across the river.
Yeah, everyone just fanning out. Darius hanging out in the brush here, ready to play some ukulele. And Superior also doing the same. Looks like no trinkets used just yet. Actually, I tell a lie, Kindred did mark the Pixel Rush on the left-hand side of the map. So just making sure to get some potential vision, and of course scouting for the ever-important Scuttle Crab spawn. Making sure if there are there, because Kindred's first bounty is one of the important ones, and it looks like maybe starting on the right side here. So it makes sense that she'd mark the left. Bit of movement, but again, just another ward. So clearly protecting the early crab money.
Yeah, and it looks like it'll also be some bottom side presence here as it's an invade from Malaysia. Level 1 Talia threaded volley, definitely very threatening. Long cooldown now though, they're on a ward.
What a smart ward actually by Vietnam. Hanging back in this brush. Oh, actually one spotted. So Puppet K roaming down maybe gives Malaysia an idea of what's happening.
Smite fight.
Red buff still getting loose. Who's going to get it? It's pretty important. Spike goes down. Bowman grabs it. And now Puppet K chasing on to RH, but Superior is going to force the flash.
That's pretty big for Foreman. He's going to get level 2 on the Kindred in a very delayed jungle path now for Caspiel on this Talia. This might actually turn around the top lane because Kindred coming up there, with a red buff can be very threatening and turn that one around.
Well, you can see again, Superior going to try poking. Not bad into this Shen as High 3 does take some shots, but Artemis fairly confident both in lane and late into the game, as we've seen already.
Well, Vecchi is also a very confident player, and you can see it. He started Dark Seal with the refillable potion on the Ziggs. He does take teleport, as most of the mages will do, so you can go back and refill that potion for your first purchase. And if you get any early action in the lane, try and stack up a couple, extra AP off of that ring. Currently, Caspiel able to take the blue buff for himself, and the Kindred mark does spawn on bottom side, so he can deny the first one.
Yep, nice bit of denial away there, as Kindred, of course, wants to stack as early as possible. Looks like a bit of an attempt to harass there by Vietnam's duo, but Caspiel will get away and claim the crab safely. Vorman, though, taking this information, really smart invade straight to the red buff here.
Yeah, and they know that this is probably an option for him. RH is actually moving up to try and protect his jungle, as he's done so far this tournament. But too little, too late. Vormund has already stolen the red buff.
Caspiel kind of losing a lot, but Shiro actually going to get the bear trap in. It still pulls him forward. Vormund, I think he may have missed
Oh,
He's going to get it. Flash forward with a pocket pistol. Now looking to remount, as teammates are reinforcing.
And after he recalls here, Shiro is going to have the first blood money plus a red buff added into this Kled Mundo matchup. That's going to be very difficult. Caspiel almost also getting another little bit of damage onto Darius. Doesn't quite land that seismic shove, but teleport comes back in. They're going to be able to push this wave in and also force out the teleport from Mundo.
Yeah, electrocute there for the Taliyah, so almost could have been a kill if they did land the shove. Again, Fishes for it, does grab it, but just denying the recall there from Darius.
Oh man, the early action here, very, very good for Malaysia, as they're able to get a huge advantage for the top side of the map. Let's see if they continue to play around that area, because they do have a flash advantage in the jungle as well. Kindred now did have to expend his flash, even though he died.
Toltner lands in from high 3 and onto Superior, but Adam is already pretty low. Looks like he ate a few bombs to the face.
Yeah, definitely some big combinations coming through. Lulu Glitter Lance into Zig bombs here. Make it a lot easier to land those bombs for your harassment. You can see that he's gone with the Comet. This is very big for Ziggs if you have someone to assist you in landing that as well. If Lulu lands the Glitter Lance slow first, it allows you to get a huge trade-off. Oftentimes, if you can do it in the minion wave as well, it helps out Zig being able to push it as well as get that harassment. Here we go, though. They are still playing around the top side. I think this is very good from Caspiel, continuing to apply pressure on the Mundo, denying him experience now even from the wave.
I mean, it's all water, but still Taliyah is so fast.
The dodge.
Good dukes here from Darius. Does get out from both CC that were incoming. But I mean, the pressure is still good here.
Yeah, but Shiro, he can just continue to freeze the wave right in front of his turret there. It's very big. All he has to do is prune it a little bit and keep it just outside of tower range. And there's not a lot that Darius can do on the Mundo. Now he's going to move back up, and he has to still respect the Taliyah pressure on top side. Meanwhile, Vormund is taking the opportunity. Since they're camping topside with Taliyah, he moves in some more counter jungling for himself, takes away the wolves as well as bottom scud.
Yep, gets this crab, which is a bounty, most importantly, so we'll pick up bounty number 1 here. Just a couple more arrows peppered in, and does manage to grab that one. Again, for all the pressure Caspiel and Shiro are getting, Vormund is doing a nice job kind of taking the farm away where relevant, but Caspiel will be able to fly back through the jungle pretty quickly. It's Vecchi actually that's in trouble
himself.
here.
He has flash.
Satchel has to wait. High 3 maybe looking for the flash taunt. Good flash by Vecchi. High 3 no flash, so kind of hard to hit that one.
Yeah, and the wave is pushing away from them. Here we go though, Caspiel.
Oh, damage again. Seismic Shove's gonna land. Electrocute procs. Goodbye. RH takes down Puppy K.
Yep, he still did not have his flashback from the level 1. Malzahar going down here. Nice, effective game from Caspiel. Malaysia getting a lot of kills early on in the game, but CS doing pretty well for Vietnam, so they're not too far behind in gold.
Again, so applying that pressure though, so what else they can do with it, I think, is what we should look for. Yes, some kills are nice, you get some extra gold, but really want to convert into some additional map pressure and ideally objectives. There's an Ocean Drake potentially that these teams can fight for. And Puppy K does return to the lane pretty quickly, burns the TP, try and get to the wave and make sure not too much damage gets done to his turret.
Yeah, Vormund here on the Kindred has actually upgraded his boots first with the Berserker Greaves. Very, very seldom seen for the extra move speed. He's going to try and use that to dodge away from the Taliyah combinations. See if it actually pays off, because it is going to delay his jungle item that much longer. But he has done a very good job of counter jungling, punishing Caspiel and Malaysia every time that they go for that top lane pressure.
Caspiel here going to clear away the Raptors is the next bounty here for Vormund, so continuing to apply pressure in that area as Volman does clear a ward on the right-hand side. Hyperplay is also 6. Kind of a nice gank timing there for Caspiel. Hyperplay does want to look to roam. He's got the Predator, although not up right now. But he does want to try and get the flash and the ult used to get it. What should be a pretty straightforward kill.
Yeah, Puppy K definitely wants some vengeance there, so they call over the jungle. A little bit of a deep invade on the blue buff on bottom side here for Vietnam. He's going to be able to take away this blue buff, even with the roam over from Superior on Lulu, because of the pushed up bottom lane.
Yep, nice pressure there from High 3 also joining in. So Vietnam's duo here in the bot side continuing to pay dividends. Artemis actually up 20 CS here and maybe looking for a dive. Superior with a nice glitter lance, but they need to get out of here. Yeah, 6 for Artemis as well. Becky might have trouble living here. He's going to go down. Volman able to grab that first kill. Lamp despite still good. Artemis taking maybe a few too many turret shots. Good heal used there by Desire to protect their Shen. But now Superior may have stayed a little too long.
Round number 2, maybe. RH on the chase is here, though.
Flash ult there, but Papa K, but RH going to try and finish it off. Superior walking back into the ulti. Gets the heal. Volman hits the double blast, but he's not going to give them over. Nice stopwatch, but Artemis will not be denied the kill. Still gets it and takes down the Lulu. And now RH is forced to flash away.
Vietnam with the numbers here, still able to get the advantage on the bottom side. No one else joining from Malaysia. Top side, though, they've got 2v1.
Yeah, Darius again. Camp continues here. Seismic shove in place. Maybe not where he wanted it to be. Shiro looking to remount, gets the pistol, but actually knocks him back. Now going to burn the ulti.
Oh!
Beautiful play. The watch, though, might save it, but I think he's got enough time with the dive. A flash from Darius, who will keep him alive, and he takes down Caspiel, who walks into tower range.
2v1 outplay there from Mundo. The stopwatch into the flash, and he's able to recall afterwards. Vietnam coming up big here at the 8-minute mark.
We've talked about their individual skill, Kobe, and it's carrying them in a lot of these moments, but still such good aggressive decision-making is finding these moments. And Darius magics his way out of that exchange in the top lane.
All right, let's take another look at the bottom lane, though. This was 4 members of Vietnam trying to roam down first. Here we go, though, under the turret. Artemis actually tanks it up first as the range champion there. The extra tower shot, he does burn heal in order to save his Shen. Then Puppy K comes in, roaming from mid with Malzahar for round number 2. As they try and answer, immediately going for the flash ult without any of the extra damage, allowing them to get onto the Kindred ultimate. Borman flashes away. They outweight this Lulu stopwatch to be able to get number 2 here. RH, though, is able to flash out from any extra damage. Then Malaysia know that they have 2v1 option up on the top side, but Darius, he pops his ultimate early on Mundo for the extra move seed, immediately turns in there for a trade, taking half of Caspiel's life. And Shiro, pretty good option here to get a remount into his ultimate, but the stopwatch was still available for Darius. They did not account for it, and inside the minions, the tower shot gonna take down the counter kill as he flashes away.
Well, nicely played there by Darius. There's a lot of burn there to not grab the kill, and Vietnam actually get themselves a gold lead, up 1,000 now. Shiro again tries to dive back in, but Darius able to dodge that next Q. Still taking damage in these trades, but we already saw from the early exchange, Mundo can fight back now with some few early items.
And we're seeing some of what we saw in the group stage where Darius had a really big advantage over Shiro, performing very well in the 1v1. This time around, even in the 1v2, that's why a lot of these pro players taking the stopwatch there for the early plays, they can really turn around the beginning of the game.
Well, we'll see how things settle out there, as these first 11 minutes have been pretty hectic already. RH still trying to group up with Caspiel, so a lot of this in the games this weekend. Nice poke there onto Puppy K. Gets the Malzahar passive off as well, but for all the early action, it feels like Volman has found some really nice angles, despite Caspiel getting those very early levels of pressure out.
Yeah, Vorman has been so consistent for Vietnam throughout this tournament. He's farmed very well on Kindred this time around. Now he's really able to invade, go for those deep marks, but
Flash W is great there, not enough on the ulti, and RH hammers him down.
Yep, Caspiel's able to get in there, gets the seismic shove down, so he knocks him out of the ultimate, and they immediately destroy Puppy K in the mid lane. That opens up some tower damage for Malaysia as well, and they're pushing ahead.
Some real confidence by a Taliyah player. Anytime you flash W, you look so stupid when you miss. That looks real good there for Caspiel, as the damage is good. Volman here trying to defend. Cannon creep now going to go down, so not really able to extend that siege much longer. Tower, though, still taking a healthy chunk of damage as Veki maybe seeing Artemis there ready with the bomb, but of course Xayah ulti can counteract that.
Bottom side, Magic Boots have come in as well for Veki. giving him a little bit of extra move speed here as he's been able to spend most of his money on the early mana as well. Last chapter, need that one early on so he can continue to push the wave, and ultimate's traded.
Yep, Artemis knows how to use it. Veki though, nice aim. Might as well just threaten there and continue to harass in this trade. Still down that same 20 CS here. Artemis has been sticking pretty sorely here in the bot side.
With the Taliyah ult still available, we might have another visit from Caspiel here to try and continue to pressure this Malzahar. Puppy K has constantly been under fire. If the Shock Blast land and they take off the Spell Shield, he does become a fairly easy target. This time around he'll have his flash though, so Caspiel actually clearing out some vision first.
Yep, Caspiel does see the one ward, so clears that out. Now back to blue buff. See if Taliyah with the Runic Echo is now finished. Does want to finish that off. Looks like no. It's going to be a donate over to RH instead.
Runic Echoes is such a big item completion for any AP jungler. It does go a little bit delayed there with the Blast Cone, but with the extra 20 ability power that was recently added a couple patches ago to the Runic Echoes, as soon as you complete the item, you have so much burst damage, and he'll be looking to use that for some extra fights. Also gives you very easy way of sustaining your mana. Taliyah also pretty good at taking the dragon. Since the bottom lane is pushed up, they'll have plenty of damage and trade it for this Rift Herald.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of spookily synchronized trade here by the two teams, but they'll split it. Ocean Drake over to Malaysia and Vietnam. Quickly after, we'll pick up this Rift Herald.
Can feel the tension rising, Pastry Time. This game incredibly close. In the first game of the finals here in Singapore, Vietnam and Malaysia going blow for blow. Top side was very exciting early on as Shiro was able to make the kill onto the jungle, but Darius made the same outplay, and it was in a 2v1 situation to try and turn the entire story back around.
Yeah, I think you can feel that tension here. You know, game one of any grand finals, both these teams for the tournament were actually some of the slower ones, more willing to play things out in the early game a bit softer and then snowball from there. Both very good team fighting teams as well, so the chaos will not stop once we get to that point, but a nice cutoff ball here for Caspiel. Ult not enough. The shove again is on point. And now Vorman going to get chased around after popping the ult. Superior flash forward looking for the slow. Veki not quite able to land the bombs, but Superior just needs a little bit more. The Ignite not enough to grab the kill. RH going to look for the snipe. Shock Blast is good!
That is 4 kills now for RH on this Jace, and he is going to control this game so heavily. What a big outplay in mid lane. That Kindred ultimate actually ends up saving Jace, not doing anything good for Vietnam. This is going to be 2 turrets with the Ziggs going to be able to blow it up as well. Huge push here for Malaysia.
Yeah, big turret take, get the first gold and an extra turret there in mid. You can see now with the Ludens, especially Veki, very good in these seed situations. Darius will trade though, so it'll only be 2-1 in objectives favor here for Malaysia. But still, a gold lead will be had, despite the game staying very close. Malaysia do kind of strike the first big bit of map damage.
Yep, 1 turret traded back, but again, so much territory now for Malaysia to work with. Let's take another look at how this one started out. Taliyah wall was used to cut off their retreat. And again, Caspiel with a well-timed seismic shove there from Taliyah gets him off of the ultimate. But then Vorman's own ultimate from Kindred keeps RH alive, and he's going to be able to find the last kill here. Snipes through the own jungle, finishes off the Kindred kill, and 2 turrets for themselves.
See, 4-0 has turned into an early Ghostblade, a Warhammer, and another serrated Dirk here for RH, who is skipping tier 2 boots for now. So he's a very strong boy.
He has been so good for Malaysia, you know, in the recent games for themselves, protecting the jungle. This time around, playing hard carry. Another set of lethality items coming in here. On top of the Ghostblade, he's going to be able to complete the Duskblade as well, and that is going to be a lot of burst damage. As soon as you get those 2 items completed, you're going to be doing tremendous amounts of damage because you negate so much armor of all the squishy targets. Anyone who has not bought cloth armor is going to be taking near true damage from those Jace Shock Blasts. So all he has to do for Malaysia is group up, try and hit a Shock Blast before they engage on one of the squishy targets, and they should be able to go for those kills. Right now, 4 members roaming up top side.
All right, one of the crap gold, and he will get it, but the real prize will be this kill here onto Darius. Shiro, bear drop on a rope again. No stopwatch this time, Mr. Mundo. Goodbye.
And Malaysia are on a killing spree here. They get another one. This time around, they get another turret. Vietnam, for the first time in a while, look a little bit behind. Now we're going to have to make the Rift Herald for a mid lane push, though, and that thing has to be answered because you can take many turrets with an unanswered Rift Herald push. They're going to go for 2 at least.
Yep, they're going to go for it here, but RH is sticking around here alongside Gaspiel to try and take down this turret. Ziggs bomb, he's going to try and clear out some damage. It's actually not quite enough. Shiro already burnt the ulti and left it onto high 3. Eye goes down on the Herald, but they do lose 2 turrets for it. Still the fight. He's going to break out Artemis again, looking to try and fight their way out of here. The ulti's good, but it doesn't quite pull the feathers. An insane flash from Shiro. This is extending the play. Foreman looking to go down here, but Shiro, oh my god, he remounts mid-fight. That's going to be enough. Malaysia going to grab one. Foreman dead. Dara's now fighting, and he takes that one for the trade as Becky will fall. Now dancing around Shiro again, looking to just try and kite it out. Superior needs to run as fast as he can, but the Mundo finally falls down.
And Malaysia actually able to cut off Vietnam there in their own push. What a remount from Shiro to take over this team fight, and they get 3 more kills.
Shiro the hero indeed, as Malaysia are going blow for blow with Vietnam in these team fights. They didn't get the top turret here either, so we have equalized that objective for now.
This as well is a 6-kill Jace now. RH is the backbone of Malaysia. Once they group up and they start to siege around these turrets, those shock blasts are going to be destroying squishy members. Okay,
here's start again. Shiro just, I thought he was dead. I thought it was crazy.
Well, he's going in. He knows he has the backup of the team. Lulu comes down, able to use the extra speed from the Kled ultimate to join here. Once he gets there, big knockup with the Lulu ultimate, and Shiro flashes on to Foreman. They force out the Kindred ultimate. Heal comes through from the Kindred ultimate, and he gets the last auto off to remount and then finish the job. Then Darius here flashes in for the kill. He's trying to get the extra cleavers on his Superior, but he's dodged out, and Jace comes in, knocks him back off of his target to save his teammate, allowing them to get another one. And this Pacey time is another game where we're seeing Vietnam go down early. As we know from yesterday, though, they were able to stay poised even at a deficit. And even if you get a lead on this team, you have to be very, very careful in keeping up your pressure to try and finish it off.
Well, Artemis is getting there on items, already finished that Storm Razor. As his first one also already going to land. They're going to try and get a pick up here. That is a kill on a Caspiel. Walks the wrong way through the Nethergrass. But now Shiro again with a massive flank. He takes down 2 Superior. Able to grab the secure on the other one as high 3. Now going to have to run away. The bear trap will unlatch. But Shiro is starting to open up these fights.
Huge AoE damage as well from Becky on this Ziggs in the small jungle corridor there. Makes it easy for him to explode multiple members of Vietnam. Now it's high 3 here on the Shen, trying to get them off of the turret. But they know there's not much damage behind him until Puppy K gets there in the turret. A couple more shots to get it low enough to execute with that satchel charge.
Yeah, Becky just knows he needs to get it in satchel range, but it did not die, unfortunately. They do, however, pick up 2 turrets, 1 in bot here as RH destroys the outer, and the tier 2 did die to Shiro in top lane. So would have been nice to crack the in here, but Malaysia kind of went for a greedy play and actually got rewarded with 2 out of 3.
This has to be very, very exciting for the Malaysian team. They lost 2-0 to Vietnam in the group stages and want to make the big play here on the big stage. RH, he's definitely done it for himself. Even after missing the shock blast, he's still able to walk down Darius because he does have the Executioner's Calling. You can see him there cutting the healing of the Mundo, allowing him to kill him in the side lane, and that is now 7 kills for RH on this Jace.
Yeah, I think at 5-0 he bought the Dustblade and the Coaling, so now really powering up quickly as he racks up kills on this Jace. Vietnam looks like they're left side right now, trying to get a little bit of a foothold onto Baron, as the Ocean Drake #2 was taken by Malaysia in that last 1v1 replay we had of the top lane versus mid lane. But Malaysia, no, just sweep out this vision. Vietnam don't really have a lot of strength to fight us right now. Yes, they'll get there, but Malaysia are unrelenting in their plays as Darius got to run. Wall from Gaspiel might cut him off. Really great stuff from Malaysia again. As a team, they are so good.
And they keep on picking off the tank here. The tankiest member goes down like butter. Easy for Malaysia there to pick him off. Now, what can Vietnam do? With everyone on the top side, they're trying to push out middle and bottom lane, as you can see. Puppy K does have teleport ready, but Malaysia have already reset, and they're trying to come defend the push.
And I think Vietnam did a great job yesterday of really managing waves and running teams around the map and just being first a lot of these plays, but Malaysia able to answer and then still find a counterplay of their own. As RH is with a big flank here, tries to chunk Artemis, doesn't quite connect on the powered up shock blast.
Great strategy from Malaysia this time around. We've seen so many teams, fall early to Vietnam, but Malaysia have gone with a very offensive strategy with their champion select, and it's paying off. Talia Wall able to cut them off, allowing for the Kled ultimate to charge everyone up to get the pick. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, we do have Warman going with the crit build here for Kindred with the early Phantom Dancer. It is going to be some more damage if he can fund that build later, but right now, they're just trying to survive.
High 3 may be caught, actually taunts back through the rocks. Becky with the bomb, actually blows the ult there from Kindred.
Yeah, ult and flash used. You can tell Vietnam are feeling the pressure right now. And let's see if they keep this one up. Right now, Kled, bottom lane, trying to split push those minions up. High 3, so incredibly low on the Jace.
Whoa, Caspiel finds the W, flashes in for it. Artemis forced to burn the ulti. Malaysia getting cooldowns.
And he died. They got the Shen as well off screen there, so another kill for Malaysia.
Oh, it's just the Shen. Okay,
Superior was able to get the kill onto the opponent support.
Blistarit's dead though. Another W is only going to hit the shield there from Puppy K's passive. But still, Malaysia just streaming in. They'll take down this inhib. Vietnam looking lost, which is not something we've been able to say for them really this tournament.
This would be the first game of the whole tournament that they would drop. But again, they were able to rally inside their own base yesterday for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah, this is nothing. One inhibitor, We came back from 3.
I mean, it's definitely something. This is a huge lead.
It's not nothing.
Baron is on the table as well. Vietnam know they have to get back to try and defend this, clear out some of the vision. Here's a look at the support on support kill. Superior. Definitely the superior support in that one.
Well, it looks like Malaysia, like you said, Kobe, all jokes aside, Vietnam, yes, they've done a great job defending, but this will be a tall task. Malaysia have built an amazing lead for themselves here, 7,500 gold or so, and still looking to maybe take down that Baron. Mid and Hib also applying additional pressure. They've shown a lot of confidence in the side lane, applying pressure in multiple ways, and Ziggs is excellent in sieges. So we'll see how Vietnam respond to what should be quite a lot of triple map pressure here.
Let's see, can Artemis do it again? Vietnam will be trying to rally around their Xayah. Yesterday, 40% of the team's damage. He had a Lulu in that game though, that was helping him, speeding him up, giving the extra attack speed, move speed, as well as shields. This time around, he does have some crowd control to work around, but not the same sort of steroids, and he's going to need a lot more money to be able to put out the same amount of damage. So Vietnam definitely feeling the pressure here. Malaysia should group back up. They've got a little bit of a bottom push as Kled going back down there. And the 4-man squad, you mentioned it with the Ziggs, with the Jace Shock Blast coming through. They have a lot of potential for poke before they go for the hard engage, but they're after Darius again.
Yeah, looking for him. He does juke around the seismic shot, but R8 still firing shots in. With the ulti thinking, still hits a lot of damage as Bowman is trying to respond. Redemption is going to heal them up. Great shot there to deny the taunt from high 3. And now Bowman is first to burn the ult pretty early on. Kindred low, Becky maybe can look for it here. R8 actually finds him with a shot blast snipe. And now he's diving in. They want Artemis, the crown jewel of Vietnam, forced to burn the ulti.
R8's now 8 kills on Jace. Caspiel actually gets very low there due to the blade collar, but Malaysia still keeping pressure inside the base. Again, Baron is available. If they get these kills super deep in the Vietnam territory, they can pull back to that objective. There's a lot of vision around it though, so Vietnam will know when they get into the pit.
Double Ocean kicking in and much needed there as Caspiel took a lot of damage in that exchange, but they've actually aggroed the Baron. They are going to try this.
All right, Vietnam very far away right now, and only 2 members moving up. Teleport is used, but Baron is so low.
Yeah, that's Mundo. They just have so much damage here with all these carries. Darius, he's not really going to make it in time. Malaysia should get the Baron, but can they get out? Taunt there looking for high 3 superior. Actually going to go down. No, he's in for a little while longer, but Artemis finally able to get the kill. Still, they find one more as Ziggs able to snipe, but there's the ulti in onto RH, who finally takes the death in this game.
That is 2 shutdowns that go over to Artemis. Malaysia did get the Baron buff, and minions are going through the base right now, so let's be careful about overextending in the chase. Yeah, they give up here on Shiro, allowing him to recall, but that is 2 kills given over in payment for the Baron buff. Malaysia going to want to try and use this one as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and R8 being responsible now, gets Malzahar ultied once, goes back and buys a QSS. Make sure that doesn't happen again, but Puppy K having a good impact there to pick up some exit kills.
The one thing that you have to worry about though are these shutdown kills that have gone over to Artemis. Recently, we had the changes where a lot more bonus gold will go to the individual. First shutdown was on Superior, and then Artemis was able to get the big one here on RH. And that was an 8-kill legendary shutdown. Huge gold influx. He bought an entire BF sword off of that one. And that is the hope for Vietnam. Still though, Malaysia have the Baron buff. They're still an inhibitor down in mid lane, and they want to pressure with this one. They've got plenty of time left.
Yep, looking again to get the siege together between Talia, Jace, and Ziggs. And of course, if Vietnam misstep, they've shown absolutely no lag at all in responding in and starting a team fight. Shira going to get the wave prepped up. Top lane not looking so hot, but they'll just Talia ulti here to cut off the siege.
They've scared Darius. Now he early ults on Mundo, thinking that they're going to go all in on him, but nobody overextends, and that is going to be a big cooldown for the team fight. Mundo without the ultimate, not nearly as threatening on the front line.
You can see all the damage that RH is throwing in as well with those shock blasts. Carries every time they eat a Q, big, significant chunk of their health does go. I mean, Malaysia do have to play this a bit slower, wait for the wave, and find that poke, and then the turret damage after that. So Vietnam right now keeping their turret pretty healthy.
All right, Malaysia can't slow play this one. Just poke away and let the Baron empowered cannon minion there slowly take down the turret. You can see it's at half health already.
Hidden Hib is respawning as well, so Malaysia might have to do some extra work to try and take some more objectives.
Cannon minion gets it into execute range. If Ziggs moves up and puts the bomb there, they can just destroy that turret. Becky, though, doesn't want to overextend. There it is. Throws in the satchel.
Easy stuff there. Siege is down. And now they're going to take out this inhib as well. Need a couple more shots. Last rock there from Talia. We'll find it. Flash there from Caspio. Very respectful.
All right. Should rotate here for Malaysia up to the mid lane and get the exposed inhibitor number 2. Vietnam, meanwhile, are just trying to defend. Try and farm for late here up into the next 10 minutes of the game for themselves. Malaysia still pressing though.
Not too long left on Baron buff. They try and find Vaughn on a ward. Ulti is going to force there. Lamb just quite traded in for the Mega Bomb by Ziggs.
Baron buff going to speed these minions up to get over to the inhibitor that much quicker. And again, Malaysia trying to poke before the all-in here. Shock Blast does land on a Pupcake.
Yeah, that's going to be 2 inhibs. Very well played from Malaysia. A really effective siege off that Baron buff. Still holding that strong gold lead as well. Vietnam crippled, very crippled in this game.
They don't have nearly as much damage here because Kindred not able to complete a second item quite yet. Looks like he's going for a little bit of a defensive scramble there. There's been so much burst damage from AP. He has the makings of a Hex Drinker, trying to delay a little bit of the extra DPS he was trying to build. Infinity Edge has just come in from Artemis though, and he is the one they're looking to carry these team fights just like yesterday.
You know, we talk a lot about crit marksman really needing to get to 3 items a lot of the time to really start the peak of effectiveness. And that is now here for Artemis, who's already shown he's able to play these long drawn-out games when the team's behind.
2 differences though. We already mentioned that they don't have the Lulu this time because Malaysia did take that one away in Champion Select, but also Artemis has gone with Fleet Footwork as his rune this time. Because he was facing the double mage bottom lane, he needed more sustain, knowing that there would be a lot of harassment. He doesn't have the lethal tempo, which is a huge DPS increase, especially in the late game. So it's going to have to be some very, very tricky positioning. And Malaysia, they know it's straight down top lane here with the super minions going to try and help them through mid and bottom. They should not rush it. Time is definitely in their favor. They just poke away with the Ziggs and Jace and try and wear down Vietnam's defenses.
Yeah, have many minutes of these super minions because those inhibs will not respawn for quite a while. So again, take it slow. Certainly the onus is on Vietnam to start and engage here. But again, with all this poke, I mean, Artemis takes 30% of his health. Actually going to get forced away. Becky immediately throwing that bomb in.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates are thrown here on the turret early. Some damage coming through onto the back line, and they actually do pop not only the Kindred ultimate, but the Hex Drinker. Actually, ultimate not used, so just the Hex Drinker shield.
Yep, here come the waves though. Bottom lane now starting to get affected. Artemis actually down there to answer, so this is the go button for Malaysia to take down this final inhibitor turret. Ziggs bomb is good. Malaysia going to get out.
Really nice siege there from Malaysia. Their work's not done though. They want the inhibitor as well. Vietnam don't have many openings and they might just go for the all-in.
Yeah, Redemption to stick around. Shiro doing a bit of frontline power. Superior plops the shield on him. Bowman looking for some sort of dance flank over the wall. Wants to try and get to the carries who have been awfully frustrating, rushing back and forth through the acceleration gates and poking out the backline and the front line.
Yeah, Vorman might want to be a little bit closer to Artemis to be able to get some more value out of the Kindred ultimate and keep the huge main carry alive for themselves. But right now they have to deal with so many minions. They're splitting across the map. Inhibitor does go down, and that's 3 for Malaysia.
Another TP here by Shiro. Caspio looking for the W, but took a lot of damage there. Looking forward for that pick. Again, Malaysia just trying to kind of dance around. Looks like they committed the TP just to make sure that last inhib died, but there are major objectives spawning in about 30 seconds, so looks like it's time to reset the map.
Yep, Baron comes up very, very quickly here. They've got plenty of wards already through the jungle, and again, Malaysia have just taken the 3rd inhibitor, so all these double-stacked super minion lines are going to be pressuring Vietnam and forcing them into their own base.
You can see all these supers again. Coleman and High 3 just trying to deal with those waves. They do have the kind of the damage to clear these waves pretty quickly, but at this point it's kind of their full-time job with double supers starting to stream in shortly. Infernal Drake also up for grabs. Caspio going to walk down and take that one, and then of course Baron is back up, and with 3 inhibs down, they did do it already, but it is very tricky to defend a 3 inhib Baron Siege.
Malaysia very happy to also see an Infernal Drake up for themselves. They're trying to take it solo with Talia right now, and again, so many minions floating into the Vietnam base, they can't really go contest these objectives. Caspio picks that one up. More damage for this team.
Fortunately for Veki, did commit the ult there to try and pick off Volman, or at least trade for his ultimate, but didn't quite aim it, as I think Volman danced away with his Q, so no trade there, but cooldown's pretty low right now for Veki. He's got a decent amount of cooldown reduction built into that Ludens. Shiro also going to find High through his face checking for some vision, but Dara said to defend.
Meanwhile, Talia wall was used in an attempted pick, but a little bit too far away.
They've caged Mundo. Mundo's not too unhappy about it though. Dara's just going to dance around and stay safe. Malaysia looking for a pick here, it seems like. Puppy K there with a Predator on. That's going to force a flash from Veki. He wants to stay safe here. This could actually be a good clutch for Vietnam. Wildguard's already popped. Shiro trying to get back. He needs to remount. Borman forward, pumps his ulti. Now needs to kite back to the stand. United was also committed. Now Malaysia maybe see a time to go back in.
Yeah, Borman very low on Kindred, no ultimate for himself, can't heal, and the Nexus turrets are under attack, so Puppy K's trying to teleport out.
Loses one, no, doesn't lose one, actually. Oh, looks like he's there to intercept it. Something respawned, it wasn't an inhibitor. I thought it was a turret dying. It's okay, it wasn't. Fight though still going, Artemis low. Malaysia still looking for those picks.
They've got him on the run and chasing him down with the Kled
ult is going to rush all the way down the mid lane here. Vorman gets out of there, but Haitu maybe not so lucky. Does get out to safety, but he's going to get tagged by Gideland's flash clue attempt there by Shiro. Not going to find it. But Caspiel, happy to trade his life, I think, as he does slay Artemis.
Yeah, they're going to have to force recalls though, because again, super minions are still inside the Vietnam base, taking down these Nexus turrets, and that leaves an open window here for Malaysia into the base.
That's 2 dead actually. Veki also picked up the support there, so the bottom lane dead here for Vietnam for 30 seconds. Mid inhib's going to get retaken. Malaysia, do they force for the game here? Looks like they're trying to go bot side as well. But again, the fight's going to continue. Darius not that tanky. Taking damage here is Shiro. Happy to play frontline. Huge bit of poke there from RH. Gets Borman as they look to go on to Mundo. Very tricky boy. But Veki, he's going to get the turret. He's going to get 2. The Nexus is exposed. Malaysia, he's hit the Nexus. There's the ult there in for Puppy K, but he can't really do anything else about it. They're going to try to defend the Nexus, but I think Malaysia are finally going to do what has not been done yet. They take down Vietnam's Nexus.
And what a way to start off the finals here. Big upset from Malaysia, taking game number 1 off of Vietnam. They had not dropped a game the entire tournament, but Malaysia gets some vengeance for themselves after dropping 0-2 to them in the group stages. A huge moral victory for themselves.
And now, I think given that we came into this series thinking, you know what, Vietnam just, they haven't lost yet, so how can they possibly lose? Well, now that we finally see them drop a game, finals got a lot more interesting, Kobe. I think a lot of people, I mean, all the teams, like I said, were saying, oh, we're going to win 2-0. But I think everyone thought Vietnam was going to be the favorite and quite likely would have 2-0'd. But predictions out the window at this point.
I mean, I really like the strategy that they came into it with, right? In Champs Select, you could already tell they were focusing on everything that has been so successful for Vietnam. You know, banning away a lot of these key champions. They took away then even the Lulu, and they were able to use it to their advantage. They had so many options with these possibilities of chasing people down. They They got pickoffs, and the Ziggs was a really intelligent pick to help them end the game. The satchel charge must have exploded like 7 different turrets for themselves and able to finish that one off in a very close nail-biter.
Well, for a closer look at how Malaysia handed Vietnam their first loss, let's check back in with Fish and the analyst desk.
Thank you, guys, and we are going to take a look at that right where Kobe left off, because he wanted to talk about the draft. He was right. They gave away Kindred. We know that Vietnam want to pick up Kindred whenever it's open. They then took Jace away, and we saw them pick up champions that they used during the group stage, like the Ziggs in the bottom lane.
This is just such an amazing draft coming out from Malaysia. We were talking with Flavors on desk, and I said Malaysia definitely won this draft. They got it to they got to decide all 3 of their lane matchups because they triple flexed in the first phase, and then they still had a coherent composition to finish the fight, which was a poke comp. And on top of that, the poke comp also counters the Xayah, because Xayah's really good at going against champions that run into her. The poke comp stays at a distance and deals damage.
Yeah, I love just how flexible Malaysia were with the draft, and I think this is what we're talking about, them being such an experienced team, having the veteran experience to say, how are we going to play this, what kind of options we have. And you could see, right, even in their last pick, they were like hovering Bard, and we were like, yeah, so the Lulu goes mid, right? Wait, hang on a second, right? And like, they just played out of their minds from the draft onwards, and then it carried through. The rest of the game plan just flowed from there.
I like that you talk about their experience, because with their experience, they tend to play slow against aggressive teams and try and sit back and relax and weather out the storm.
Yeah.
In this game, we said that they have to go aggressive. They have to take the aggression to Vietnam. You guys were saying on the desk, we heard Skara say it yesterday as well. For any team that goes up against Vietnam, and from the get-go, that's what Malaysia did.
I mean, this is just great, right? You see the enemy jungle coming into your lane, and you're like, my backup's in the jungle, what do? You think you back off? No, he goes in for the 2v1. Shiro doing great there. And then we talked about what are the 2 things that Caspian needs to do to get his jungler ahead or his team ahead. He has to focus mid lane, and you can see it right here. Flashing in that confidence to land the knockback. Great stuff from Caspian. Just such a great job to get RH ahead on that Jace.
And a lot of it was flowing from the fact that they got triple winning lanes. All the solo lanes were pushing in all the time, and it was very easy for Talia to fling someone who was standing underneath his tower and just trying to CS.
Yeah, and we saw her try to go towards the top side of the map quite a bit. Seemed like the name of the early game was to shut down Dr. Mundo in the top lane. Fair credit to Vietnam, they were able to stall that shutdown, but Malaysia kept picking on him time and time again.
And this was such an amazing play from Darius. He's played every single turn exactly as you wanted it. He baited out the Talia fling early, anticipated it, sidestepped it, and was able to get away so easily. The first dodge on the 2v1 was also very important, because if you look at the bot side of the map, Kindred was able to take a 20 CS lead over the jungler, and that really gave Vietnam their early lead.
Yeah, this guy made Dr. Mundo look like he bought an extra pair of boots right there, right? Because he was dodging everything just so well.
Yes.
And he's coming in, you know, we said he's the Shiro crusher himself, and I think he lived up to that reputation, and great job from Caspio to actually help Shiro out in that lane. But still, Darius, we give him credit for where it's due. He bought a lot of time for actually the Kindred to get going on the side of Vietnam.
But it wasn't enough, because eventually Malaysia kept picking on that top lane. Shiro was able to become a monster on that Kled and was crucial in a lot of their team fights, able to initiate with the champion and make sure he can jump into the back line and allow the rest of the team to catch up as well.
Yeah, I really love what Shiro did. We talked about how he plays these huge AP champions. He needs a lot of AoE to contribute to the team fight. But then now he brings out the Kled, and the rest of the team just plays around that so well. I mean, the move speed from the Kled, the engage, he's really fearless in starting these fights out for Malaysia.
It even led into the first team fight, which Malaysia were able to take against Vietnam. It was a little bit messy, with Rift Herald being dropped in the mid lane, and Malaysia trying to make a play on the top side of the map. But they're able to pick it up, and that was the first major lead for Malaysia.
We were a bit hesitant about this fight because the members didn't seem like they were there for Malaysia, but just watch that flash. He dodges out of the Xayah ultimate and then into the Lambster spike, kept himself alive, remounts, and then finishes off 3 people.
Yeah, Shiro the hero, as Pastry Time was telling everyone in the audience, because that's absolutely a name that he's well deserving of. And you could see the rest of the team just playing around that. Kled goes in, you're like, this is absolutely nuts. Where's the rest of the team? Well, they're running on his coattails with that movement speed that Kled provides, and then the bombs come in from Ozoroveki, and everything literally goes up in flames for Vietnam.
And this really changes the dynamic of the matchup, because we talked about Shiro as the tank player. He's always been bullied around by Darius in the top lane, but he's showing that, hey, I can be the aggressive side, I can take the counter picks, and that really changes a lot of what Vietnam were confident about.
I've got to jump in right there and say that's why the draft from Malaysia was so smart because there is his favorite champion. We heard an interview, Jace.
Yeah.
And then they flex it around as well, right? It's not actually going to go top, it's going to go mid, and then, wow, I mean, really well played from Malaysia on all fronts.
His favorite champion and one of the most commonly picked top laners in Vietnam, commonly used as a first pick to tie up with Camille. We also saw them, you know, we talked about the standout players coming out from Malaysia. We always go towards Caspiel, RH, as well as Azora Vecchi, and they did have standout games. RH was phenomenal playing in the mid
so
lane.
good.
We
so
saw
good.
top side of Matt Kleb was playing fantastically. Yes, Caspiel was shut down a little bit in the early game, but was more of the support stuff with the help of Superior. This is the first time, though, that we've seen Malaysia truly play as a team. And you said that, Mark, you said this, if they want to win against Vietnam, they must play as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. This has to be the way that they distinguish themselves from the team that's never been defeated. Yeah, it's also the team that doesn't have 10 regional championships, by the way, right? That hasn't been around since 2014. They have their own strengths. Fine, give it to them. But then play to what you're good at. And absolutely, as a unit, they look so scary. You could see team members, you know, using the ultimates, the Talia wall, the Kled engage, and then the rest of the team just moving as this scary ball of death with all kinds of, you know, bombs being thrown out, all kinds of damage following up from the initial engage. It looked really well put together. One strong unit.
Plotted out how to play against Vietnam so well. They knew that Artemis was the big engage of the team, was the hyper carry threat that you had to deal with, and they dealt with it with a ton of range, a ton of CC, the bombs coming out to force out the Zaya's Featherstorm, and then threatening her with the Kled straight into the back line. There was no room for Artemis to get his damage off.
We saw that so many times, throwing out the Ziggs ultimate very early in the laning phase, even though Artemis was doing fine in that bottom lane, just to make sure he used the ultimate nice and early. Now, with Malaysia showing this strategy, it could mean that Vietnam go backstage, they change things up. Mark, do you think still favorites of this tournament, or do Malaysia look stronger now?
I don't think Optimus is going to let this game one slide draft-wise. I think he really, I don't want to say underestimated Malaysia, but I think Malaysia really showed everyone here just how good they are from drafting. Optimus has all the experience on his end, right? Malaysia's very experienced, Optimus is very experienced himself. I think he's going to relook at that game #1 draft, realize that Malaysia got too many options, and he's going to close down some of the strengths that Malaysia was able to play off just from the diversity of the draft.
The big thing about the draft from Vietnam is that they pigeonholed themselves into the Zaya because they played 2 times Zaya in the group stage and beat Malaysia both times. They thought it was fine. But picking the Zaya early really opened the door for Malaysia to take up the poke composition. They picked something that didn't need to run into the Featherstorm, and they were never really punished by it. So I think if they just move that back, give themselves some more options, maybe even a bit of utility engage on that AD position, then they could really shake things up.
Yeah. Zaya's Featherstorm was what allowed Artemis to make those hero plays in the bottom lane, and in the fights, especially against Singapore, were they able to turn around the game. So being able to force that out of him instead of denying the pick actually made a lot of sense coming out from Malaysia.
Very
worked
smart
well
play
in that draft, and it was a smart play. What do you expect from Vietnam going backstage? What did they change?
I'm interested in whether or not they prioritize Jace a bit more, because we see that Darius, while he is great in the top side, you know, absorbing a lot of pressure, I want to see a little bit more strength and aggression coming out from that top side.
Well, they potentially could, Mark, because they're going on to blue side for the second match. So first pick is available. They could go away from the Kindred, potentially go towards Jace.
Yeah, there's not a lot of strong counters on Jace at all, and it's also a flex champion that you could play around with. So there's a lot of danger in Jace, and that's why he's the most picked top laner out of the entire tournament. Not something we usually see in other regions.
Whereas for the side of Malaysia, you know, if they could get this composition again, they'd probably try and run with it once more. But, of course, Vietnam going to try and stop that, try and take some things away. What do you think gets taken away, and what's the next step for Malaysia?
It's tough to call right here, but, you know, the poke composition had a lot of interesting pieces. I think Jace is definitely a very highly favored one. I wonder if they just ban away the Ziggs, because that was really annoying. You could see it was dealing with the Kindred and the Zaya ultimates. It was like, you know, we talked about, oh, Artemis does twice the amount of damage. And then Azora Vecchi's like, I'll one-up that. I'll take away your ultimates time and time again. I don't even win until the game will finish, right? He just counters him from level 6 onwards. It's great play coming out from them with that one pick.
I totally agree with you. I think Ziggs has to be off the table. It counters hyper carry compositions, and it also is something Malaysia is very comfortable with.
Something Azora Vecchi
We've seen them play it so many times, and you could see with the satchel charge, the way they siege, that this is a practice strategy for them. So you want to take them out their comfort zone.
Well, with that, we saw finally for the first time Vietnam have dropped a game at this tournament. Malaysia now at match point. We'll see if Vietnam can strike back in game 2. Hyperplay continues right after this.
Superior, walking back into the ulti, gets the heal moment, hits the double block, but he's not going to give them over. Nice stopwatch, but Artemis will not be denied the kill, still gets it. There's a rebound, gets the pistol, but actually knocks him back. Now they go the ulti. Beautiful play, the watch though by Steve, but I think he's got enough time to dive. A flash from Jericho will keep him alive, and he takes down
done. I've eliminated dead spots in your home with Wi-Fi mesh. Go ahead, stream a video.
Close your eyes. You don't wanna fall asleep, so I'll mesh it, baby, and you won't have to miss a thing.
With maximum Wi-Fi coverage, you won't have to miss a thing.
'Cause I'll mesh it, baby, so you won't